Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, and this is Styling V, and this is a tutorial on how to make this stylish Bubu gown with a design in front. So it's actually very simple and very beginner friendly to make. Okay, so let's get started. Now, to make this Bubu gown, all you need is your thread, your bias tape, your Asoeke. You can even use an Ankara fabric for your design. Okay, it mustn't be an Asoeke. So I have two different stripes of Asoeke here, and I also have my fabric here, about 4 yards of crepe fabric. So this is like a check crepe fabric. Okay, so I have 4 yards of it. So I've gone ahead to fold it into 4. That is the normal way you fold your fabric whenever you're making a Bubu gown. Okay, so I've gone ahead to fold it into 4. I folded the whole 4 yards. Okay, so I folded it into 4, cutting both the back and front together. So the first thing I would do is to mark my neck width. So I'll be using a neck width of 3.5 inches, and from there I proceed to mark half of my shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches, and from that point there I will just use the whole, that's the remaining measurement that I have, as my sleeve length. Okay, now when I am done on this part where I have my sleeve length, I'll come down here by 1 inch for my shoulder slope. So the length of this gown is 62 inches plus 2 extra inches for hemming allowance. Okay, so when I'm done, I will connect from my neck width to the 1 inch that I came down by for my shoulder slope. So just watch what I am doing and you do understand better. So when I'm done connecting it, this is what we have. So the next step for me to do is to determine how open I want this to be. So I'll proceed to mark 10 inches for my sleeve opening. Okay, I'll mark 10 inches for my sleeve opening, and this is what we have. So the next step for me to do is to divide my hip circumference on this point where I have my sleeve opening length. Okay, I'll divide it by 4 and I'll mark it straight down. Now I'll proceed to add my allowance of 10 inches. Okay, so this is a Bubu gown, and this depends on how open, that is how big you want your Bubu gown to be. So you can add from 4 inches, 5 inches, 6 inches, depending on how you want it to be. So I'll proceed to connect from the 10 inches to the sleeve opening like this, and I'll give it a C curve on this part right here. Okay, so you can see what we have right here. So the next thing I would do is to create the space for my pockets. Okay, now from the shoulder line, I'll proceed to mark 20 inches. Now, what I normally do is that I'll come down by 2 inches below the half length to get my pocket. So I'll mark 20 inches from the shoulder line, and from that 20 inches, I'll determine how open I want the pocket to be. So I'll proceed to mark 7 inches after the 20 inches as my pocket opening, and I'll connect this straight down like this. Okay, I'll extend my measurement straight down to where the 20 inches is, so you can see what we have right here. Now after the 7 inches below the 20 inches, I will proceed to take whatever measurement I have, that is my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 10 inches. I'll take it straight down to my gown length. Hope you guys understand, please. I'll take it straight down to my gown length after the 7 inches below the pocket, that is for the pocket opening. Okay, so I'll just place my measurements and take it straight down to my gown length. Now the next thing for me to do is to give it the pocket curve, and I'll just proceed to connect from the 20 inches round to meet the 7 inches. Just give it the pocket shape like this, as you can see me doing. So this is how to cut a cut together pocket for you. So the next step for us to do is to mark out the neck depth for the Bubu gown. So remember, we've already marked out the neck width of 3.5 inches both for front and back. So what we'll do now is that the neck depth for the back will be 1 inch or 1.5 inches for the back, and I'll connect from the neck width to the neck depth like this, just giving it a round shape like this. So for the front, I will proceed to mark 4 inches as the neck depth. Now remember, there's an opening in front, so we'll mark out the 4 inches as the neck depth first and give it a round shape like this. So just see what we have. Now for the opening, I will come down by 4 inches. So this depends on how open you want yours to be. So I'll come down by 4 inches and I will mark, so you can see what we have right here. So I won't open it now until when it's time for me to turn the facing and the neckline together. That is when I'll open it up. So when we're done, the next thing for us to do is to cut following the shape that we just marked. So I'll first of all cut the back neckline first. Then I'll proceed to cut out the shoulder slope like this and every other part, following the shape like this, as you can see me doing. And we're almost done cutting. So, and this is what we have. So you can see what we have. I'll take out the back pattern, that's the back dress, and cut out the front neckline. So remember, the front neckline is deeper than the back neckline, okay? So that's why you have to take out the back neckline after cutting it out. So I proceed to cut the 4 inches depth, and you can see what we have right here. So when I'm done, the next thing for me to do is to cut out a facing for both the back and front. So for you to cut out the facing, I'll fold the fabric into 2 like this. So you can see what we have right here, and I will place the fabric that we just cut out now on the folded part. That is the neckline area of this Bubu gown will be facing the folded part of this piece of fabric here. So just watch what I am doing. You arrange it properly before marking out your lines, okay? So after doing this, on the neck width area, I'll proceed to mark 348, okay? That's 3.5 inches. I'll mark 3.5 inches on this point here, and I'll just connect following the shape like this. I'll trace out the shape of the neckline, and from this point here, I will proceed to mark 8 inches below the neck depth, okay? Remember, there's an opening. That is, the opening will be 4 inches opening and 3 extra inches for the facing, okay? So let me say I came down by 7 inches in total. So I'll proceed to cut following the neckline shape like this. So you can see what we have right here. So, and this is it. So this is the facing for the front pattern, okay? This is the facing for the front pattern, and we'll proceed to cut out the facing for the back. So the same thing I did for the front, I'll also do the same things for the back. I'll fold my fabric into 2 like this, as you can see me doing right here. I'll fold this piece of fabric into 2 like this, and I will place this fabric on it with the neckline area facing the folded part, and I'll proceed to come out. That is, I'll mark 3.5 inches from the neck width and also 3.5 inches from the neck depth, okay? And I'll trace out the neckline like this, and I'll connect all the sides together that we just mark like this. So this is just a simple way of cutting out your facing for your dress, okay? Whatever neckline you are cutting. So guys, the next thing for me to do is to gum and hairstay to the facing, okay? I'll proceed to use my hairstay and gum it on the facing, only on the facing alone, okay? That's on the wrong face of my facing. I'll just come and hairstay on it. So I'm going ahead to cut out the Asoeke and also iron it using 1/2 inch on all sides. So for this Asoeke, this depends on how big you want yours to be, okay? So it mustn't be this measurement, but for me, I use a length of 12 inches for this particular size and a width of 12 inches. So I'm going ahead to iron it round. That is, I folded it 1/2 inch round, okay? So like I said, I used 12 inches, so like this. So it means I joined 2 Asoeke to make it 12 inches for the width. So this is what we have, and also this is for the smallest size. I just cut out a length of, I think this is about 10 inches or 11 inches long, yes, and you fold it 1/2 inch on all sides. And also this is the second one. So for the length, I use 10 inches for the length and also the width of 12 inches, okay? So that's just all what I use. So the next thing for me to do is to sew the bias tape on it like I've done on this purple Asoeke. So I'll be showing you how to do that using the bias tape, okay? So this is the bias tape. You'll be working with a black bias. So let's move to the sewing machine. Now to do this, the first thing for you to do is that you will sew this bias, that is on the tip of the Asoeke, okay? You sew it with, just let me say, with about 0.25 inches, okay? Just at the tip of it, you sew it at the tip of it. Now I am sewing on the good face of this Asoeke, on the good face of this Asoeke. So I'm sewing on the good face here and on the tip of the Asoeke like this. So you can see what we have right here. So when I'm done, I'll turn it to the wrong face and I'll fold it, okay? Now you fold it in such a way that you are still seeing like a little amount of the bias on the good face. I hope you guys understand. So I'll proceed to fold it like this. in a tiny form and sew it on the wrong face like this. So whatever thing I do to one end, I'll do it to all sides, so you can see what I was talking about. Now you can see the asoeke on the good face like this. So you do the same thing on all sides and the rest of the asoeke too. So guys, I am done sewing the bias on the asoeke. That's using the method I just taught you all. So you do the same thing on all sides of the asoeke. So when you're done, the next thing for us to do is to place the asoeke on each other like this. Okay, so following the shape that is on the bubu gown. So I'll place the second one on the first one and the third one on the second one like this. Okay, so you just proceed to pin it like this, as you can see me doing right here. So I'll proceed to hold it with my pin like this so that they can stick to each other and they won't shift when I'm sewing them. Okay, so now after doing this, the next thing for us to do is to sew. I'll take it over to my sewing machine to sew from this point right here to this point, and also from this point here to this point, just on the tip of the bias. So the next thing for us to do is to sew the facing on the neckline. So I've proceeded to iron the hairstay on the facing and also fold my fabric into two and iron it so that I'll be able to locate the midpoint. Okay, so I'll take this over to my sewing machine to sew. Now just watch how I will sew this neckline. I'll proceed to sew round until I get to the midpoint. Remember I said I ironed it so I'll be able to locate the midpoint. I'll sew till I get to the midpoint like this, and after sewing to this midpoint, I will proceed to sew straight down to the 4 inches opening that I want it to be. Okay, that is to the 4 inches that we marked earlier as our opening. So I'll proceed to sew till I get to the 4 inch, and from there I will turn it like this. Okay, so that I will continue sewing on the other side. I'll leave a space of about 0.1 inch like this, and I'll proceed to sew like this. Okay, so just watch what I am doing now. You also do the same thing, and when I get to this point here, I will continue sewing the round shape of the neckline like this. Okay, so this is to achieve that opening in front of our neckline. So if yours is not having an opening, you can just proceed to sew it, like give it that round neckline. And this is what we have right here. So when I'm done, I will trim off the excess that we have at the neckline area, but before then I'll have to open it up. So just watch what I am doing. So I'll open it till I get to that 4 inches there, and I'll reduce the excess fabric that we have around the neckline area to remove bulkiness. Okay, so that will reduce any bulkiness around that neckline area. Whatever thing I do to one end, I also do it to the other end, so you can see what we have right here. So I'll turn it to the good face so you all can see what we have here. So just watch. So I noticed this part was still squeezing, so I have to turn it again and still re-notch this part. Okay, so if you don't notch it, it will squeeze at that opening area here. So guys, this is what we have. So I'll take it over to my pressing iron and give it a very good press. Okay, so I'll lay it very well and give it a very good press. So guys, I am done giving it a very good press, and you can see what we have right here. So the next thing for us to do is to place this asoeke on this front piece. Now I will just place it on it. So this depends on where you want your design to start from. So there is no particular measurement on it. Okay, so I'll just place it in such a way that I am comfortable with the position of the design. So that's just what I did, and I will hold it with a pin. So this is where you need your pins, please. If not, it will shift. So I have to hold it with a pin gently like this. Okay, as you can see me doing right here, I'll hold this with a pin on all sides so that it won't shift by the time I am sewing this. And as you are pinning, you will also be arranging your fabric so it won't squeeze inside the asoeke. So guys, I am done pinning, and the next thing for us to do is to sew. Okay, so we'll take this over to our sewing machine to sew. So now, in order for you to sew this, you sew at the tip of the bias. Where you have this bias, you sew following the shape, all sides like this, at the tip of the bias itself, like this, gently. Okay, so guys, I am done sewing, and you can see what we have right here. So the next thing for us to do is to place the back fabric on the front fabric. Okay, so I'm also going ahead to sew the facing for the back like this and give it a good. So I'll just join the shoulders together, and I'll hold it with a pin before taking it to my sewing machine to sew. So you join the shoulders together, right side facing right side, and you take it over to your sewing machine to sew with 1/2 inch from the shoulder line down to meet the sleeve opening. So guys, I am done sewing, and you can see what we have. So the next thing for us to do is to hem the sleeve opening like this. So you can proceed to hem it with 1 inch or 1/2 inch or 2 inch, depending on how you want to fold this. Okay, so guys, I am done, and you can see what we have right here. So the next step for us to do is to shape. Okay, so it's to shape. So you place them on each other like this. So you cover up the sleeve opening like this together, and you hold it with your pin, ensuring that all sides are equal. So also come to this pocket area and close up the pockets together, right side facing right side like this, ensuring that all sides are equal before pinning. Okay, whatever thing you do to one end, you also do the same thing to the other end. So we'll proceed to shape with 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Okay, so but for me, I use 1/2 inch to shape it round, following the shape. Starting from this sleeve opening like this, I'll just follow the shape round like this using 1/2 inch till I get to the hemline, that is the gown length. And when I'm done shaping on both sides, I also proceed to hem the sleeve length. Okay, and that's all. Bye.